Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Ben from KCT here, and I want to talk to you about one of my longest running reviews that I've been doing with a particular item, and it's part of this. So obviously everybody knows Glocks are pretty much the AR of the handgun world. You can modify them, you can trim them out, do everything that you need to do. But there's a couple things that Glocks don't get right out of the box. This is a very old Gen 3 RTF2. Got it around 2009, so we're looking at a little over 11 years now. And the part that we're going to be looking at today is in the slide here, and it is the White Sound Defense HRED, which stands for High Reliability Extraction Depressor. I think I got that right. Extractor Depressor. And that is a mouthful. What also is a mouthful is their website. They have a ton of information on there, and it looks like wizardry, techno-science. It's crazy. We won't be covering any of that today, because if you need to do that, you can just go to their website. They can write it faster than I can say it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, take a look at the HRED. We're going to break this thing down on the table and see what it is, what it does, what it doesn't do, why you might want it, why you might not want it. So, oh, we're so cutting this. Okay guys, we're back on the bench here. Let's go ahead and take this thing apart and see what this HRED is all about. So of course, that gun is nice and safe. There we go. Okay, so what exactly is the HRED? It is quite simply this. So what is that? Well, this presses up against, if you're not familiar with all the operations of a Glock, it presses up against the plunger, the safety plunger here, which mine, after 10, 11 years of this gun, finally broke. I have no idea where it went, but replaced it with a Overwatch Precision NP3 part, and oh man, it is great, I tell you. So what it does is it rides this little channel here all the way up there, and it puts pressure on your safety plunger here when the back plate is on, because it'll push this part all the way in. So what exactly does that do, and why might you want it, why might you not want it? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear viewer. So first of all, this is installed the opposite way of the Glock part. So when you're installing the Glock part, the OEM version of this, you are installing it this way with the spring to the back. Now, that's the way that they do that. I don't know, and of course this is a Gen 3, and this is also pretty old. So they could be doing it different ways now. I don't know why they decided to do that. If you go to White Sound Defense's website, they do have a ton of interesting information on why this is the way that it is. But the biggest one is that the solid piece pressing up against the side plate is sort of the standoff arm, and then the spring piece with its little nubbin end there. Apparently when doing that, it's much better for the extraction. People look at it and say, okay, well, it's the same either way. You see the spring there. If you look at the coils, they're actually different all the way up, which is kind of cool. So anyways, so this, the rod part stands off against the back plate, and then this presses against the safety plunger, and according to White Sound, that is the way that it should be installed, so the exact opposite of the Glock part. So why did I get this? What is it? Well, it's, again, the high reliability extractor depressor. All that really equals is a more reliable part for the Glock. Now, the Glock's very reliable in the first place. A couple things that it does get wrong, however, is the ejection. So And I know everybody, there's different parts and things like this. This is the original extractor that's on the gun from the RTF2. So that's never been replaced. I know people have different ones. This it does have a loaded chamber indicator, so you will get that slight bump pressed out when the round is in the chamber. I don't really rely on that, but it is something that you can do if you want. But why I bought the HRED was because with Glocks, a lot of times they'll spit empty casings over the gun and into your face or onto your head. And after going to a bunch of classes and things like that, I really got sick of just eating my own brass. And so I did some research and looked around. And finally it happened on this from White Sun Defense. And I was like, okay, cool, let's try this out. Put it in the gun, and away we went. So I got this in 2016. Currently we're at the Ascent of 2020. What do I think about it? Well, it's still my gun, so there's probably something good to that. There's a cat outside right now that really wants to get in and play in front of the camera, but we're not doing that. So if you hear a meow, that's what it is. Her name is Hudson, after Bill Paxton's character. So the good thing about using this is I don't know what's in my gun, which is awesome because it means I'm not being hit in the face with random brass being ejected like straight over the gun and onto my head. You know, I usually wear a hat and stuff anyways, but it's annoying. And so with this, I found that with most ammunition, I've not had any problems with rounds or empty casings striking my head after, firing the gun. So, and everybody is different. Some guns you'll see, they'll just eject just perfect. Some of them just kind of wheeze out the shells. Some of them really spit them. So one of my friends also got an RTF2 as well, and so in the 17 format. I don't know if they make it with the 19 or whatever, but yeah, so he got one of those and had the same problems. So he's getting a lot of spent casings that are being ejected, right into his head. So we ended up getting these again in 2016, and it's not really been an issue since. So I say that they're a pretty good upgrade if there's something that you're dealing with your Glock right now. Again, the whole Glock perfection, it's awesome, but it's kind of elusive. I think the sights are pretty pretty awful, factory sights. I think that the stock trigger is pretty garbage. But it is what it is because of the way that it needs to be from the factory. They're selling high reliability pistols, to law enforcement, military, things like that. We civilians get the fun of tweaking it, and then we'll see if it works or not. But this has been a really, really good upgrade for Glock. And yeah, I really, really like it. I don't get any more spent brass back in my face. Again, you may not need this because your Glock may just chew them up and spit them out, and you don't have to worry about where they're landing. But if you are worried about getting some nice hot brass in your face when you're shooting, or it's like every 8th round or something like that, one will come popping back, and especially if you're trying to focus on something, having something hit you in the face, even though it's as small and silly as a piece of brass that that you fired, you're still getting hit in the face by something while you're shooting a gun. So depending on what your situation is, it may not be super ideal. So guys, I definitely recommend this if you do have that problem. White Sun Defense, it's really weird. Like they have these things on the website, but a lot of times you can't buy them from there. So they have like other distributors that do it. I don't know if they're super small. I know that they have the FASA, which is their flash hider. I think it's a suppressor mount too, I'm not sure. But so they only have a few products out, and they're really sold through other distributors. So if you look them up, they will give you a link on where to actually buy these. But yeah, again, if you have that problem, I think that would be a very, very good way to solve the issue. It certainly solved mine. So let's just go ahead and put that back in the gun, and we'll wrap this up. So just go ahead and drop that in there. And as you can see, it stands out pretty flush with the end of the slide. So it doesn't really, stick out. It stops almost exactly exactly where that slide stops. Which I think is great. You know, sometimes you take these parts apart, and they're like, oh, we put extra spring tension in here and do whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, well, another part is sticking out. I don't know why. But yeah, I guess I'm rambling here at this point. We'll go ahead, put that slide plate back on. There you go. And then we'll go ahead, take the HRED, take a little, there you go. Make sure it snaps in there. The awesome KCT plate there from Cinder Core, little handy racker there. This thing's awesome. I don't think they make them anymore, but man, these are cool. 3D printed. Yeah, been on the gun for years. Love them. So we'll go ahead and put this gun back together. Obviously, it's a Glock. There's nothing special to it, but that is something I've been liking in my gun for a long time. Guys, if you have that problem, definitely check them out, especially for the price. You know, it's 16 bucks. You know, obviously shipping, whatever, but you know, if you have that problem, it's a pretty cheap fix for getting that taken care of. I know you can go on a lot of the Glock forums and things like that, and they're, you know, going on about, oh, put this, you know, the 972A84A extractor ejector thing in there, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, I don't have time to hunt all these parts down. Put the HRED in my gun has been great. Again, Glocks really don't have much of a problem with jamming or lack of reliability, and again, this does really cut down on the amount of spent cases. Of course, if you're shooting in certain directions, or you have the gun canted for whatever reason, you may be experiencing more or less of that to your taste. So, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap this up here before we go on all night. Definitely like, subscribe, follow the channel. We are growing, having a great time doing it. More and more gun content coming every day, well, every Wednesday and Saturday. And yeah, definitely go ahead and hit that up. The KCT Syndicate is going to be in the links below. There's also, we can put other links in there. We can't link, obviously, directly to pages that have anything, you know, firearm, but we will be starting to put a link to the KCT blog with the Syndicate and everything, so you can save money, but also go to the websites that we talk about, but we can't link to. So you'll be able to click on our site and then go there. Maybe read an article or something while you're there. Who knows? Guys, be excellent to each other. Be safe out there. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.